Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So we have breaking news, and it was breaking news yesterday, but a lot of people are still talking about it, and that is that Senator Thom Tillis, who is holding up the landmark legislation that would codify Donald Trump's agenda and has basically done everything that he possibly could do to stand in Trump's way and to piss off every side that he possibly can. The left doesn't like him. The right doesn't like him. MAGA doesn't like him. Independents don't like him. Nobody likes this guy. And it was becoming an electoral liability to the point where I was saying that he might even lose to a non-Roy Cooper Democrat in North Carolina if he can't get his act together. Thankfully, it doesn't matter. We talked about him a little bit in the primary video, talking about the 5 incumbent Republicans that should be primaried, or at least we should entertain a primary challenger to. It doesn't matter because he's done for. He's gone. He's retiring. He's been pressured out. Donald Trump said, quote unquote, Senator Thom Tillis, he better get his act together. And now it turns out he's not going to run for re-election. So you have another backstabber. It's been a common theme throughout Donald Trump's both presidencies, I guess you would say. You have a lot less now than you had before. Thom Tillis was kind of an underrated backstabber before, but it does seem as if now he's on his way out, and that's a good thing. And again, a lot of people are like, well, we're losing an incumbent senator. And it's like, this is a victory. This is an objective win because Tillis has made everybody upset. You have polls with his approval rating in the gutter, and he's just never that strong of a candidate. He never was. Even when he was winning elections, he was never a strong candidate. And now you have the possibility that a more electable, but also more MAGA at the same time conservative can take his place. Because there's like this misconception that if you're like some RINO who opposes Trump, that you're going to win your elections. That's not how it works. Because first of all, it's not like the left likes him or independents like him. He's not a likable guy at all. He's seen as somebody who, the left thinks is like too MAGA, but in reality, he's not. And you could see that. He's gone out and supported red flag laws. He opposed Donald Trump declaring a national emergency on the southern border back at his first term. He's opposed Trump's big, beautiful bill for innocuous reasons, mainly because, it's like, this bill's going to go out there and cut Medicaid for illegal aliens, and it's also on top of it going to cut green energy subsidies or something like that. Tillis was more of an enthusiastic backer of the Biden agenda where it counted in the big bills compared to the Donald Trump agenda. That's a major problem. And now, thankfully, he's gone. But for all the people who want to go out there and say Tillis was some sort of electoral juggernaut, I don't think that they're living in reality. And we could look at history, and history would show us that that's not the case. And we can go all the way back, and we could look at 2014. Thom Tillis won in an election that had the lowest black turnout in decades in the state of North Carolina. Barely anybody showed up. Kay Hagan only really got by in 2008 because of Obama. Thom Tillis failed to crack 49% in the state of North Carolina. He was carried because of third-party support. And even if you want to say, well, they would have voted for him anyways, that's not a good sign because it proves that he's so weak that he's underperforming because people would rather vote for a third-party candidate. And I'm against people voting for third-party candidates, by the way. But if that's what happens in action, it shows how weak you are as a candidate. He won by margins less than what you saw Republicans do in a state like Colorado, which is now a safe Democrat state, in this election. So it kind of shows that he is very weak. Yes, he's a RINO. He's some sort of moderate that stands on principle that he can't even define because that changes because he's owned by the establishment. And when you look at 2020, his candidate that he was running against on the Democrat side was abysmal and had a sex scandal. And even then, he only won by less than 2%. Now, people will say, well, he won by more than Trump. Here's the problem with that, though. He got less of the vote than Trump. Trump got 49.9%. He didn't even get 48.7%. So he did not overperformed Donald Trump. He underran Donald Trump. Cal Cunningham just happened to underrun Joe Biden in 2020 by more because he had a sex scandal. He was running as a family values Democrat and then decided to, on a dime, just be exposed by opposition research, which was not even conducted by Thom Tillis or his team, by the way. The fact that happened was a miracle. And if it was not for that, Thom Tillis would not even be in the Senate, and we would possibly be talking about finding a recruit to flip Cal Cunningham's seat. But thankfully, because of independent MAGA journalism, it got exposed. Now it's basically 2026, I guess you would say. The primaries are going to start in less than a year. It's this cycle, and you have all sorts of things brewing on the Republican side. Is it going to be Laura Trump? Is she going to go for it? I don't know if she's going to go for it. You might have Michelle Morrow run, Dan Bishop run, Pat Harrigan. You have a wide open bench and a lot of strong candidates, and hopefully we will see one of the strongest candidates emerge for the general election. We have some hypothetical polling, but a lot of that is just Thom Tillis versus other people, in which he was already losing some of these polls, by the way. And on the Democrat side, we don't know what's going to happen. Wiley Nickel is very likely going to be the nominee, but if Roy Cooper does decide to jump in the race, maybe he sees it as more of a possibility for victory now because of the fact that Thom Tillis is out of there, which again, I think is very misleading. But you have so many very dumb people in the political class that believe that Thom Tillis is like some electoral juggernaut when he can't even break 50% in his home state. Now I'm kind of relieved if Republicans can find a good candidate. Obviously steer clear of somebody like a Mark Robinson, but even Roy Cooper, I don't think he's some world beater at the federal level. North Carolina is a state that historically has elected plenty of Democrat governors and attorneys general over the years. That is true. But when it comes to the federal electorate, they don't really tend to elect Democrats to Senate seats. Now, Trump's in the White House. Some people are saying it's going to be a Democrat favorable year, even though there's plenty of signs to the contrary. What I will say is the turnout dynamics, given the current state of affairs, would showcase that the higher propensity electorate in North Carolina is actually more Republican favorable, as it is in much of the Deep South, because you will have lower black turnout and Republicans still win the white college vote in North Carolina, even if it's not by margins they were winning it by in 2004. So regardless, Republicans are going to be in a very strong position going into 2026 in North Carolina, regardless of whoever the Democratic nominee is, just because you have a deep bench. I believe that you're going to see a strong nominee come out of this, and I think they're going to go out there and win. I really do. As it stands now, I think it's a toss-up, but I think it tilts more Republican, and there's more evidence for why. First of all, this is a state that voted for Donald Trump by 3 percentage points, more than that, despite the fact that you had a lot of weak candidates on the ballot for the Republicans, which again, reverse coattails, they don't exist. But still, for Trump to win by the margin he did, that kind of showcased the strength of Republicans and the Republican Party in North Carolina, especially at the federal level. And on top of that, Republicans just keep running it up in the voter registration. They never really had the lead over the Democrats. In fact, in 2016, they trailed the Democrats, even though it went Republican, by 646,000 votes. And in 2024, when Trump won the state by a similar margin to 2016, Republicans were still trailing, but they only trailed by 106,000 voters. Now, Republicans have an advantage of 87 to 88,000 voters over the Democrats, and it's growing every single month. And on top of it, when you do the math, it's nearly a 200,000 voter registration turnaround that we've seen. And the numbers out of Pennsylvania are great. They may even warrant another video because that's how phenomenal they are. But you look at North Carolina, you look at the way the state is going, and you have so many people that are coming out and saying Republicans are cooked in the state of North Carolina because Thom Tillis isn't running. No, I think they actually have the upper hand because Thom Tillis is not running. He's not some world beater incumbent. He's not Susan Collins. He's not even a Ron Johnson. He's somebody who has stumbled his way into improbable victory twice. And if anything, you would say he would not have done so a third time, as he's managing to burn as many bridges as he possibly can. Now you have a wide open field, a very strong candidate can emerge, and hopefully that candidate will unite the party in a better way than Tillis would, and they would be able to go out there and win in 2026. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle out.